It's December, it's Christmas time, and I want some presents. But not just any presents. I want some gifts that haven't even been made, yet anyway. I'm talking about Godzilla and some other kaiju related media and merchandise that I would like to see get made and released. So if you work at Toho and you watch this, maybe jot some of these things down and leave them as a note on your desk, and over time maybe let the higher ups know about this stuff. Could make a few hundred people happy, maybe thousands, millions. We can think big here. Anyway, let's move on to the list. Number 5. Re-releasing the Marvel Comics Godzilla Set. Some of you may not know this, but Godzilla actually had his own comic series with Marvel in the late 70s. He was battling the Avengers and meeting these great superheroes who were relatively famous, but not as big as they are today thanks in part to the MCU. Now, the Marvel Godzilla comics had a 24-issue run, but good luck trying to track down all 24 issues without spending a bit of cash. Yikes. In the mid-2000s, Marvel did give the series a re-release with their Essentials run, which compiled all 24 issues into one trade paperback. And you could find these at a more reasonable price than trying to track down all 24 issues. But the takeaway from that, and the reason why I never bothered purchasing one, is that the Essentials set is featured in black and white rather than the gorgeous color from the original run. To some, that's no big deal, but to me personally, that's taking away something that's supposed to be there. These things weren't originally released in black and white, they were in color. It's been a while since the Essentials set released, which I didn't even mention is out of print now, so a re-release is definitely overdue. Toho, shake hands with Marvel once more. Number 4. Releasing and finishing Godzilla and the Lost Continent. Now what we have here is an unreleased, or should I say unfinished novel, that was going to be written by Mark Saraceni, who was the author of several other Godzilla novels published by Random House in the 90s. Godzilla and the Lost Continent was penned to be the next book released, but was cancelled due to the 1998 movie's lack of success to sell other books. According to an interview with Mark from Toho Kingdom, Mark says, quote, "Bookstores would not order Godzilla and the Lost Continent because they were stuck with the crap books from that worthless movie." End quote. This book was going to feature some of the more obscure creatures like Varan and Manda, and also a brand new kaiju called Raijin. Unfortunately, there is not much known about the book, and it seems we'll never get to know what type of story it was going to tell. The only thing that exists are a book cover and a short preview of the story written in the back of the Godzilla vs. the Robot Monster novel. Mark, if you're out there, finishing the story and making it public would make a lot of fans happy. Number 3. The HannaBarbera Godzilla Set. Godzilla the series got a complete DVD set in 2014, but we fans had to wait 16 years for that to happen. We're now going on over 40 years for the Hanna-Barbera one now. Other shows from the company are finally getting their complete series releases, but Godzilla is nowhere to be found, even when the Godzilla hype was strong in the last few years. So what's taking so long? Toho Kingdom did a recent interview with Chris Mowry, the creative manager at Toho International. The question was brought up if the series would get a physical release someday, to which Mowry replies, quote, "In all truthfulness, we're working on it, but it might be something out of our hands though," end quote. These co-production things can be a big pain to get settled. There's a lot of licensing nonsense, and of course, the battle over who gets the bigger wallet going home. Other shows are unfortunately plagued with similar problems, like the Rankin Bass Kong cartoon from the 60s and the co-produced Ultraman shows, which, as of now, still don't have any official complete series releases. If anything, it's nice that Toho is at least putting the show out on YouTube, and parts for some reason, like we're in the late 2000s years of YouTube. Number 2. A new Godzilla fighting game. The Pipeworks trilogy of Godzilla games were amazing fighting games for their time. Yes, including that one. I think these games are still fun to play even today. I will admit though that they are a bit dated compared to modern fighting game standards. There was also that one game simply titled Godzilla, and it was something. Nowadays, Godzilla games seem to be going mobile, and they're fun for about 5 minutes. But I want a real game that I can sit back on a couch and play on a TV. Something like the Pipeworks games, but just done better. Hell, I'll even take a remaster of all 3 games if that's what it comes to. Especially since those games haven't gotten any sort of re-releases outside their console debuts, and are stuck on hardware some of you most likely don't have. Number 1. Better releases of the 90s and 2000s films. Now I know, a lot of Godzilla movies just need better releases in general up here in the States, but the 90s and 2000s films are often treated the worst when compared to the rest. These movies are owned by Sony in the States, and they clearly, like most of their own movies, do not care about these films. They don't. Their releases of the movies range from subpar to just downright terrible video and audio tracks, no bonus features, except maybe a few behind the scenes material here and there, which isn't really anything. Going back to Godzilla the series, Sony put out 3 DVD releases of the show in the mid-2000s, with only 3 episodes per release, random ones at that. Sony never had any intentions to give the show a proper release. Mill Creek had to step in to do the honors in 2014. Speaking of 2014, when the recent Godzilla movie hit cinemas that year, Sony re-released their films on Blu-ray, which admittedly were a step up from their past releases, but that's not saying too much. These still ultimately have no quality, no time put into them, and sadly, no care. These were only put out to eat off the hype of the 2014 movie, and it clearly shows. With their generic presentations, their dub titles, and still no real bonus content. Except now you get a variety of trailers, which they can't even get that right. Now don't get me wrong, it's good that we even have releases of these movies at all, but Sony, you could do so much better. So that is my top 5 Godzilla products that I would love Santa to bring me. Or at least let Toho, or whoever owns the rights to this stuff, know that we the fans really want it. Will they come out someday? I guess only time will tell. If you got your own wish list of products you hope to come true someday, let me know about them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. And with that said, unless the world gets taken over by a bunch of genetically engineered creatures, I'll see you all in the year 2022. Merry Christmas everyone, and have a Happy New Year.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
1998, the year of Godzilla.